Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. CMAT notification for 2022 is out. This is probably the second last examination of the season because after this, the only examination that we have is MHCT, right? So all of you are waiting. Many of you are waiting for this examination, and the notification is out. But this time, it has come up with a surprise, right? The surprise is innovation and entrepreneurship. Many of the people do not know what this is and how to prepare for it, right? So it has created a buzz among the aspirants that what is INE and how should one prepare for the examination, what is the syllabus, etc., etc. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what is innovation and entrepreneurship, what kind of questions are asked in this section, right? Last year I appeared for the examination. Okay, so I know that what it is because last year also it was a section. It was not a compulsory section, it was an optional section. So students must have appeared for it because that would not have made any difference. But yes, people might not have taken that section. Very few people must have taken this, right? So I'll discuss about this, that what was this section and how you go about solving this. Okay, so let's see this thing. If we look at the pattern of the examination, this year the examination is going to have 5 sections. All the 4 sections, quant, logical reasoning, language comprehension, and general awareness, these are all familiar to you, right? Now, this is something which is new this year. Is it really new? Is it really new, or if it was really new, for example, last year it was really new because nothing was asked in before, but that was an optional section, right? A student had a choice that whether they want to appear for it. That was not counted in the score and ranking also. Okay, they had given the sectional percentile. I'll show you my scorecard. They had shown the sectional percentile, but they did not mention that like whether it will be added. So it was not added, it was just a set like you have in GK in that, right? They do not, they give you a percentile, they give you the score, but they do not tell you that that is not counted in the overall percentile. Okay, so now that was an optional section this time, but this time it is mandatory. Last year it was a choice that whether you want to appear in this section or not. So I appeared in this examination. I got like 99.06 percentile in this section. I don't remember, like out of 25, maybe I got, I don't even remember it if it had negative marking also. I think it had negative marking, and my score was like if it, like I remember that around 16, 17 questions I got correct out of 25. So if there was negative, maybe I must have attempted all. I would have got around 60 marks, right? Around 60 out of 100 marks. I got this percentile, right? So this was something that so uh, that was the section that was an optional one, right? So it was that is not considered for all India rank. So even if someone got a zero score, will not affect his or her all India rank. So it was just the this thing, right? Now the question is what type of subject it is, right? What kind of questions do you expect from this section in the examination? What was asked in 2021 and what could you expect in 2022? So I'll give you the data about 2021 and tell you that what could you expect. Okay, now now some people might be wondering that whether it is general awareness. Is it general awareness about some startups and all, the companies, how they function and all, or some theoretical subject? Okay, so let me tell you, it is a mix of both. It will require you some general awareness about businesses, right? Let us say like business related current affairs you study. So same thing is applicable here as well. For example, last year they asked that which was the first uh, uh, which is the country which has stopped the ease of doing business, right? Similarly, they ask one more thing about biography of JRD Tata, right? So that is something that they have discussed in the past, right? So if you look at the pattern, there were 25 questions, as I said. Now, interesting thing was there was a RC also. So it was basically a test of your reading comprehension skills also. it was a sociological analysis of minority businesses. So basically, it had 5 questions on general awareness that had some current as well as static. There were 11 questions on theory, theories related to innovation, right, and entrepreneurship, that is startups and all those things. Okay, and there were 9 questions based on an RC. So it tested your skill of reading comprehension also. They had given everything in the passage, and there were questions like the ones that you get in RC, like inference based, that the author is least likely to agree with what. Okay, so it was typical RC, fact based as well as inference based, right? So that was the pattern last year. So we do not know that whether they will have this thing again or whether they will scrap this thing and have questions on these two things, right? So let us be prepared for. So anyway, like if RC they are asking, you are already prepared for reading comprehension, and you prepare for verbal ability. So obviously RC is something that you prepare because in every examination reading comprehension is being tested, right? So if you are preparing for that, obviously this should be done. Now the question is what kind of general awareness and theory that you get. So I'll show you some sample questions also from the last year. Okay. Now what are some of the topics that one must focus on, and I'll give you the name of a book also, and tell you that which book to read section. Okay. So if we talk about the innovation and entrepreneurship thing, right? So read about innovation, the process of innovation, what is innovation, what is invention, right? So do understand what is the difference between innovation and invention, right? Do you know that what is innovation and invention? Invention is basically discovering something new. Okay, that is innovation, invention. Let us say someone invented steam engine, right? Or someone invented a ball pen, someone invented an aircraft, right? Innovation is basically the modification in that invention, right? So it could be invention of new process, it could be invention of some new parts, new technology, etc. Then different stages of innovation, right? Ideation and all those stages, the framework, how to manage innovation, the risks in innovation, right? What are the risks and things related to copyright, patent, and all those terminologies. Okay, then about entrepreneurship, what are the different types of entrepreneurship? Okay, like how an entrepreneurship brings changes to the society. What are the challenges there? Legal structure of startups, right? What are the legalities of a startup? Okay, what are the different clause? Like what are the different schemes, right? Especially these schemes. What are the different schemes of government that promote startups? Okay, for how much duration can you get loan? Uh, Terminologies related to startups. Okay, so you can search for that, like what are the terms and all that are related to startups. Okay, then types of companies, legal things like companies act. What are the different type of companies? What is sole proprietorship? What is LLP? What is LLC? Okay, what are shares of companies? Okay, all those things. How are companies funded? Hear about funding, right? This company raised so much fund. What is that thing? What is seed funding and all those concepts? Then marketing and growth strategies, right? What are the different strategies related to uh, businesses, right? How do businesses expand? Okay, maybe like what is offshoring? Okay, so those kind of terms. So basically, it is uh, it is a sort of understanding of businesses as well as innovation processes. Okay, so here's a book that you can refer to. So there's a book by Peter Drucker, that covers all these things, right? Innovation and entrepreneurship. So you can so that is something, a standard book which is taught in many colleges, right? So like if there is a subject of innovation and entrepreneurship, people read this book for that in courses in different colleges. Like some colleges have this as a subject also, right? You have different subjects, so some colleges have this subject. So that is the book that is preferred by the colleges, right? So this is a book. If you can get this online, uh, good, right? You can purchase it online, or if you can get a uh, get a e-version, right? If you, let's say, maybe on a Kindle version or kind of thing, then it would be great. So if you want to prepare for it, this is something that will clear your conceptuals, right? So I told you the topics, read about those topics, and see, the thing is, people worry too much about one particular section. Okay, yes, you should prepare for this section, but it should not be your only section that you prepare for. Okay, because there is no what I would say, there is no sectional cutoff in CMAT, right? So even if you score less, even if you are able to do 10 questions out of 20, it is perfectly fine. The thing is, we start looking at just one section. You think that, okay, this 20 marks, this 20 marks. No, do not think that way. Think that way, that you have to score overall. This section you should not ignore at all. So I have told you the basics, right? So go through the basics, and like if you get to manage this book, right, get this book, you can do that. So you have around 1 month for the examination, and you can easily finish this book, right? People finish books in, like, if you're only focused on this section. But I would recommend that you should be focused on all sections, right? It should not be that you just prepare for one section and think that, okay, this is the only section that I need to prepare for. Okay, so it is very likely possible if you start now. So it has, someone is asking the number of pages, somewhere around 200, 280 pages or so, but there are some case studies also, right? So if you skip those case studies, so approximately 200 pages. Okay, so that is something that one could cover, right? So if you start now, so approximately 200 pages it has. So even if you read, like, see, as I told you, that you should know the pointers, right? You do not have to read all the theory and all. Okay, so that is something that you need to check for. Okay, now let us see some of the questions. Okay, so let's see some of the questions, and which were asked in CMAT 2021 from this section, and let's see that if you know the answers to those questions. One of the questions was, what is the not autobiography, that should be actually biography of J.R.D. Tata. He did not write his own biography. What is the biography of J.R.D. Tata? Does anyone know the answer? Now this is something which is a GK question. So check for it, like if you can get a PDF somewhere. What is the biography of J.R.D. Tata? Does anyone know or not heard of it? So obviously it had options. It did not. It was not something that without options. No, no idea. Okay, I have not put it in a quiz format. I've just given the question and the answers. Okay, so probably we'll have some quizzes also related to this. So on similar lines, I'll create some quizzes, and then we can have some quiz sessions also. So this is just to give an idea that what kind of questions were asked in the examination. Okay, so his autobiography, his biography is Beyond the Last Blue Mountain, that was written by R.M. Lala. Okay, so it did not have, that was the answer to this question. So there were four options given to us, right? Uh, Basics of innovation and entrepreneurship. Yes, that is sufficient. They won't ask you very details of it. Okay, so yeah, so that is this thing that uh, like if you cover the basics, that should be, you should be able to answer some of the questions. Some of the things we already know in general. Okay, and some was general awareness. Okay, so which country is number one in ease of doing business from 2017 to 20? So it was asked in 2021, so they asked about it till 2020. number one in ease of doing business from 17 to 2020. You know, which is the country which is number one in ease of doing business? Yeah, so it was in this section. I told you that there were some questions of general awareness, there were GK, plus there were theoretical questions. I'll show you the theory questions also, a couple of theory questions also. So, India is not there. India is way behind. How can India be number one? That logically is a foolish answer. Okay, China is definitely not the answer. China is a communist country. Okay, how can I mean it has to be some capitalist country, right? China is never can never be right the ease of doing business, right? They restrict businesses. They have their own things, right? They do not allow to allow Google, Apple, and all those. They have their own substitutes for all those, right? How can China be the answer? The number one country is New Zealand. Okay, so Singapore was ranked one from 2000 up to 2016, 2007 to I think 2016, that was number one, and then New Zealand has been topping from 2017 to 20. Okay, so that is number one country in ease of doing business. Which ministry publishes the Economic Survey of India? So as I said that the general awareness that you need to prepare for business and economy related questions. Right, do read about. Now this is something about famous entrepreneurs, right? So as a part of entrepreneurship, do read about famous entrepreneurs of India. Okay, so Economic Survey of India, I'm sure like if you read budget and all those focus on this, so that is the Ministry of Finance, that is correct, you answered it right. Okay, now it there was now question on this thing. A business where an individual is both the owner and conductor of business affairs is called what? Any idea that if an individual is the owner as well as the conductor of business affairs, what would you call it? Now this is typical question from entrepreneurship. So type of entrepreneurs, right? So type of entrepreneurs. Yes. So your answer is right. Sole proprietor. Okay. So obviously you would have answered this using options because options were very easy. Okay. So even if you do not know it without it, so while looking at options, you would have answered that sole proprietorship. Okay, so that is the type of questions, like types of entrepreneurs, right? Like some news related to businesses. The dash plan shows the whether this business is economically viable or not. Which plan shows that business is economically viable or not? So even if you cover the basics of this thing, right? I told you the list of topics, right? Just go through that list of topics and just cover the basics from that. Okay, so you should be able to do well in this section. As I said that there were questions on RC. I don't know whether this time also they will include the RC or not. Even if that RC part was not there, rest of the questions were like these are things that knowledge based, right? If your knowledge is fine, that is like knowledge of business knowledge, or like you call it business and economic. It could be current affairs. It could be those knowledge. These are pure theory based questions. And I told you the list of topics, right? If you studied the what are the different kinds of entrepreneurs, you would have been able to answer the questions, right? So this is called a business plan, right? So business plan shows the whether the business is economically viable or not. So these were some of the sample questions that were asked last year. Now, as I said that apart from these things, like that was just giving you a hint. Now, do read about these things. Your like basically things related to startups. And what are the terms? Different terms related to startups, right? What are the different types of funding, types of businesses, then government schemes for different things, then legal aspects of startups. Okay, then things related to this thing that like different types of terms, like what is valuation, right? What is funding, and uh, what is this thing, your ESOPs, how are ESOPs given in that, what is proprietorship, right? What are the different types of firms and all those things. So I give you a list of topics also. I give you the book also, you can refer to that. So the thing is, it asks your basic awareness about businesses, right? So yeah, it will have options. I just recall the questions, some of the questions, so I asked those questions, not produced with the options. Maybe sometime we might have some quiz wherein we'll discuss questions with options. So the thing is, prepare the basics. Okay, you do not have to go very deep into the subject. Right? Basics. What are the types of innovations? What is innovation framework? Okay, at what stage things happen, right? Like in legal aspects, when do you register a company? Okay, after how much years? What is like when do you receive funding? So what are the different stages of funding? Okay, then all those things related to companies, businesses, basics, you need to cover those. And so I give you the list of topics, just go through them, and then I give you a list of a book also that has things on all these things. So it covers all those basic awareness related things. Okay. All right, so that was an introductory session to this, right? And probably we will have some series. Yes, if you're asking that, we will try to have some series. Let us see that if they organize some series on this. And if that is the case, I'll take some sessions wherein I'll conduct some quizzes based on my understanding of the subject. And I recommended you that book, and you can go through those things. Okay. All right, so thanks for watching this video. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye.